Yo, yo, yo. This is Trading Trenches, your number one podcast for trading news and views, helping you navigate the financial markets. It's your boy Nathan,
It's your boy Warren.
and today is the 21st of January 2021, where we discuss Bitcoin. How low will it go?
How low will it go? That is the question. Now, today, it currently stands at 31K. The highest of this month was 40,500. That means, people, that today we have seen a 10% loss of Bitcoin's complete market value. Now, what does that mean? Nathan, have you got any thoughts?
That's right. We've seen pretty much a 25% decline from the 8th of January until today. The market cap is sitting at 585 billion. Now, people, I know you're worried. I know you're concerned,
I
but
am worried. I am
we
concerned.
we have seen 30 to 40% corrections historically in Bitcoin from every single bull run. So let's take it back to 2017, where prices were $1,000 and they got up to $20,000. During
Right.
that massive bull run, where we got a 20x return, Bitcoin
Hmm?
had not one, not two, not three, but six 30%
Six.
corrections. Six
Six? Are you
30%
serious?
corrections. Six 30% corrections in that run. And I anticipate, as we said in our last episode where we discussed Bitcoin, we're expecting a price of at least 100K. I'm expecting at least five 30% corrections in that run from 40%, 40K, sorry, up to 100K. So this is number one of those 30% corrections. I think prices could go potentially as low as 25K. Um,
Mhm.
as we said in the previous episode, this is the wild, wild west of investing. Don't risk more than you can afford to lose.
I
But
like that. I like that. The Wild Wild West. Can we just repeat that again? This is the Wild Wild West of investments, due primarily just to the volatility of this market. So I will repeat what Nathan says. Please do not, if you're going to invest in Bitcoin or any cryptocurrencies, just be aware of the volatility. Um, it's gone down by 10% today. Now, if you're a risk adverse person, like many of my friends are, which is nothing wrong with that, but you have to keep in the back of your mind that these investments carry somewhat of a risk, and the volatility it takes during a day, during a week, it can make your head spin. So just be aware of that before you invest, and please just invest what you're willing to risk.
yep. And you have to remember there's more upside volatility than downside volatility. I mean, let's take it back a month's time when we were sitting at $20,000. If you'd said, you know, in early December, we're going to go from 20,000 to 40,000, but you might get, a 30% dip along the way, you probably take it, right? And if,
Yeah,
let's
I
say
would.
by December 2021, we're at 100K and there was a couple 30% corrections along the way, you probably take that as well. So you can't expect upside volatility without downside volatility. And as long as long term it's heading upwards, you're in the right spot.
Yeah, I would agree, Nathan. So we're gonna go on to news in relation to Bitcoin this week. Nathan, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, so I think there was, people were probably asking, why has there been this massive correction? Um, and sometimes it's a question of, just market structure, people taking profit, that sort of thing. Sometimes it's a bit to do with, what's coming out in the news. So there's two kind of negative bits of news that we wanted to share. The
Okay.
first was the ECB president, Christine Lagarde. So the ECB, the European Central Bank, they're kind of in charge of the euro and managing inflation, interest rates, all of that sort of thing. She came out and said that she wanted global regulation for Bitcoin due to money laundering concerns.
Wow. Wow. Yes. So what's the implications of that, Nathan? Uh,
So, potentially, um, any exchanges might have to adhere to new regulations, new rules. Um, I mean, as anyone will know, and this is separate from cryptocurrency, it's usually quite difficult to get global regulation just because you need so many different countries to agree. I mean, even getting regulation within Europe itself is difficult because Germany, France, Spain, Italy, all these other countries have to kind of agree. So even with Europe alone, it's difficult. But when you say globally, again, that adds another layer of complexity. But nevertheless, investors probably are looking at that and saying, hmm, might be a good time to take some profit off the table and see where this leads to. Janet Yellen, as well, who is Joe Biden's nominee for the Treasury Secretary, she also came out and said that Bitcoin is used for illegal financing or money
okay.
laundering. Um, so, I mean, again, it's kind of a strange one when you think about it because Bitcoin is still, 500 billion market cap. Um,
Mhm.
I think I saw a stat last year saying there was about $2 trillion worth of money laundering. So the amount of money that's
So,
being laundered,
sorry, Nathan. So
yeah,
$2 trillion that
on
have
an
been
annual basis, yeah,
on an annual basis. So if we
yeah.
compare that to the banks, would that be more than two? Do they have more than 2 trillion? Would you say,
Well,
just from your guesstimation?
yeah, I mean the banks they obviously manage and I guess invest way more than that $2 trillion mark. It's probably in the tens of trillions, but that's kind of the estimate in terms of the total money that people think is either money laundering or used for some
Mhm.
kind of illegal activity or tax avoidance or that sort of thing. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
Now you have to bear in mind that if you're going to avoid taxes or do money laundering or some kind of illegal activity, odds on you're going to use either the dollar or the euro or some other existing currency. It's
yeah.
unlikely that you're going to delve into Bitcoin to do that just because it's easier to use a normal bank account. It's easier to use normal currency um, because it's more widely used, of course.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Um, and moving on, Grayscale Investments holding increased their Bitcoin holding to 616,560 bitcoins to 632,800. That's equivalent to $23.5 billion.
Yep. Yep.
That's a lot of Bitcoin. um,
Yeah.
so I just really, even though the market or Bitcoin has gone down drastically today by 10%, the strong hands within the market, the clever money, are piling into Bitcoin, which would to retail investors like myself, like anyone else that is listening or hold a little bit of Bitcoin. If you follow the news and you follow the smart money, they're not running away from Bitcoin. They're going all guns blazing, which would mean for me that this is an exciting time and a very good opportunity to buy Bitcoin because it might not get any lower than this. What's your thoughts on that, Nathan?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's this concept in Bitcoin where they call it weak hands and strong hands. And what we're seeing is Bitcoin move from the weak hands to the stronger hands. An investment fund like Grayscale, they've got a long term view. They're thinking in the years as opposed to in the days. So when they see prices go down 10%, they're thinking, yep, let me snap up some more. Whereas retail investors see prices go down 10%, they're thinking, I've lost 10% of value here. So
Mhm.
it's just in terms of the view, these large institutions are thinking in the years. And so, price dips for them are almost insignificant when their view is that Bitcoin could be $100,000 and above.
And yeah, yeah, I would agree on that. And let's just touch upon
why we think, even though Bitcoin has gone down 10% today, why we still think it's such a good investment. And the reason why I believe it's such a good investment is because of the finite supply. And conversely, if you look upon what's happening in the world today, there is a lot of money being pumped in. Like Joe Biden just released is going to administer 2 trillion worth into the US government.
Yeah.
Now, they can print money as and when they can. So even though Bitcoin is not in a really strong position now, as it was last month, there's still only 21 million ever going to be made. So just based on economics, the price of that one Bitcoin surely must go up. Nathan?
Yeah, supply and demand. As you said, supply is capped at 21 million. It's finite. Dollars are seemingly more and more infinite. Euros, pounds, yen. All these central banks are, their policy on money is release more and more, whereas Bitcoin's monetary policy is release less and less over time. So it's up to you, I guess, as an investor. Do you want to hold something that's like an infinite amount more can be released, or something where definitely only a certain amount will be released? And I think that's the long-term story of Bitcoin, and that's why we think long term it's going to go up. And I'll just touch on another news article where the head of the IMF, apologies, came out and said he urged governments worldwide to spend as much as you can. And that's a direct quote. Put that in quotation marks, spend as much as you can. And that was in reference to countries stimulating their economy to come out of this coronavirus slump or recession. In order to stimulate their economy, spend as much as you can. Now, when governments are spending as much as they can, people holding that currency effectively are going to lose as much as they spend, in percentage terms. So if they print 50%, you're going to lose 50%. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's inflation, right? Basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. And so we're not saying not to be worried about Bitcoin today. If you have got Bitcoin, trust me, I know how you feel. I really, it's a hit. It's a 10% hit. It's a 10% hit. But what I would recommend is just stay strong. Look for it as a long-term investment, and I believe this time next year you will reap your rewards. So we're going to go on to our predictions as of this time next year, even though it's gone down 10%. Nathan, are you still rather confident that you're going to see a bullish trend during this year?
Yeah, still as confident. I think prices could even go a little bit lower, in all fairness, to around the 25k mark, which would be in keeping with, the historical corrections of 30 to 40%. But what we're likely to see is, once that correction has kind of worked its way through, I'd say early February, we start to see prices tick higher, and we could see another all-time high again by the middle of next month. Middle of February next month. So that's what I predict.
So that's what we're saying. Even though it's gone down 10%, Nathan's just predicted that it could go as high at the highest it's ever been by next month. So let's try and not be short-sighted when we're looking at these numbers, and just try and hold on as long as possible, really. So yeah, I think that's it. What on our next section? Oh, I just wanted to actually add the power of Bitcoin. Now, this is a fun fact. So, an ex-Real Madrid player, David Barrel, became the first footballer to be bought with Bitcoin. Now, can we just have a round of applause for David Barrel, please? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is the power of Bitcoin. Football players are getting bought now of Bitcoin. So all the disbelievers that don't believe this is real money, you're wrong, because if you follow football, you know that's a money game. So yeah, well done, David Barrel, first person to ever be bought via Bitcoin. History made there.
Yeah, he'll go down in the history books. And I think, I don't know if you've ever heard the story about the pizza that was bought for about 10,000 Bitcoins back in, I don't know, 2010 or something like that. Maybe it will go down as whoever used the Bitcoin, they'll be looking at it and thinking in a couple of years, man, I can't believe we spent all that money when the prices go up. But yeah, interesting facts, that's for sure.
Yeah. And in the next section, we're going to now look at the stocks, our top 2 stocks to look at and really observe over the next coming 6 months. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. So the next stocks that we're going to look at, I believe, are my 2 top picks in relation to Bitcoin. Now, these are called Riot Blockchain and Bit Digital. Now, these are blockchain technology companies that mine the actual Bitcoin. Riot Blockchain currently stands at $18 a share, and Bit Digital currently stands at $16 a share. The market cap for Riot Blockchain is 1.3 billion as of today, and Bit Digital is 800 million. Nathan, do you want to discuss the returns?
Yeah, so 2020 returns for Bit Digital was 305%. So pretty much a 3x on your money. And Riot Digital was 737% returns. So I guess a 7.3x on your initial investment. As Warren mentioned, these are both mining companies. So they primarily deal with mining Bitcoin. What is mining Bitcoin, you might ask? So we've kind of talked about Bitcoin as a payment system and also having a limited supply of coins. Now that is a payment system that's decentralized. So where you perhaps make a transfer with your bank, it's a centralized system. You go directly to your bank and you say, bank, please pay person X £100 or $100, and then that payment is made centrally by your bank. Whereas as Bitcoin, there's no center. There's companies that offer processing power to the network, and that processing power effectively maintains the network and also carries out any transactions on the network. Now, for companies and individuals to be incentivized to, I guess, supply the processing power for the Bitcoin network, they receive a reward in Bitcoin. And that reward is, I guess, a payment, and it's considered mining because it's kind of similar to how companies in the gold industry, they go down into the ground, they mine out gold from the ground. So you've got, I guess, gold mining. Bitcoin mining is you provide processing power to the Bitcoin network, and then periodically a reward will be paid in Bitcoin. And so it's thought of as processing mining. So you use processing power to mine Bitcoin. Now, of course, these companies, as Bitcoin goes up in price, the value of their mining operation becomes more and more valuable. And so it's another way to, I guess, benefit from the increase in Bitcoin price without buying Bitcoin directly.
And conversely, if Bitcoin does go down, it will also go down. I
Yes.
believe Riot Blockchain today is down 15%. So this is just an inclination of how linked it is to the price of Bitcoin. Obviously, because it's mining it. Would you agree?
No, spot on. Yeah, no, spot on.
Yeah, and that's I think that's it really for today. We just wanted to basically clarify that we still believe in Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency, based on the fact that it has a finite supply and it works as a store of value. Um, and even though it's gone down 10% today, we still believe that's equivalent to like 585 billion market cap, that it's gone down. So, but we still believe that it has the potential to go up, up, up. The upside is tremendous on Bitcoin. And if you can hold on, if you have Bitcoin already, just hold on as long as you can. And if you haven't, this is a perfect opportunity to buy now. Anything to add, Nathan?
No, that's it really. That's it. I guess we're in a uptrend. This is the bull run. No saying how high prices will go, but we do still expect them to go above the 100K mark. And we'll see where it goes from there, really.
All right then. Episode 7 out of the way. We done it. We made it through. Thank you guys for taking the time out to listen to us. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel now and Spotify channel as always. Please like and comment below. And just follow us on our journey as we trade in the trenches.
Boom.
Take care, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.